Well, how's it going, my friends? Welcome back to Pantry Preparedness. Today we're going to talk a little bit about food storage. Obviously, we know food storage is super important to emergency preparedness, but today we're talking about our pets. So we'll talk about dog food today and how we can store dog food and how we can do it cost effectively. Now, some of you love your animals, you love your pets. Some of you see them more as kind of utility, and whatever perspective you're coming from, in an emergency situation, a dog is a fantastic asset to have. There are a lot of benefits to having a dog, especially in stressful situations. First of all, they're going to provide a lot of protection. They're a great early warning system. They're going to be able to detect things that are out of the ordinary way faster than you will, and even like during the nighttime. They're also so great for emotional support. So in a stressful situation, like having anything, especially with children, that can sort of bring back some normalcy and that companionship is going to do a lot to help keep your head on straight, keep focused, I guess. And they just do a lot for me too, not just for kids. So I don't want you to have to choose between taking care of your dog and being able to provide for your family. And if you've only set aside food for humans, you're going to have to make that decision, and probably pretty early on. We're just not going to deal with that, right? So we're going to be prepared for our dogs too. But we also don't want to break the bank. So first, let's talk about what your options are for storing dog food. Obviously, we can store whatever, but we want something that's going to be able to last a while, so we want something fairly shelf stable. There are a few great options. We've got kind of your dry dog food, the stuff that you're probably feeding your dog most of the time. In the bag, it says it's good for somewhere between about 6 and 18 months, depending on where you store it. That's not bad, but that's not super long term, which means basically the way that you would store that just in the bags on its own is to always just keep a couple extra bags and sort of just rotate through it, first in, first out. That's a really good option, but we're gonna find a good way to stretch this a bit further. Another option here, I have some canned dog food. Canned dog food is already shelf stable. It says the manufacturer expiration date is 3 years out. It's pretty good. And we all know about expiration dates on canned food. They are fairly meaningless, or at least they're very conservative. So I could pretty comfortably say 5 years, unless I've got that stored in like a really hot garage or something. I'm gonna be pretty comfortable for 5 years. Now, there's another great, really long-term option that's 25, 30 years, and that's freeze-dried dog food. Now, at that point, we're talking about pretty astronomical cost in comparison to these. So we're not really gonna address that in this video. If money's no object for you and you just wanna go out and buy that, like, cool, good for you. You probably don't need a video to tell you that that's an option. There's also another really great option for shelf-stable food, and that is to feed your dogs some of the same kinds of foods you would eat yourself and just store a little bit extra of that. So we're talking things like rice, beans, and those alone aren't gonna be enough, but if you add in some animal protein like eggs, that could work for your dog. So one way to be able to manage that is just have some extra rice and some extra beans to be able to feed your dog, but maybe get a couple extra chickens if that's something that you've already got going on. So those are good options, but now we got to talk a little bit about feasibility and a little bit about cost. I mentioned that freeze-dried food is basically off the charts compared to the rest of this stuff, so we're not going to talk specific numbers there. Just know it's going to cost you way more. But now let's talk a little bit about the canned food versus the dry food. We all know canned dog food costs more, but it's already shelf stable, so maybe that's better. So I want to talk a little bit about this. So this little package here, based upon a 40-pound adult dog, they say that they should eat between 2¼ and 3 cans a day. What are you doing with like partial cans anyway? Like you open it up and what are you gonna do? Like leave 3/4 of a can for tomorrow? I don't know. Maybe you're gonna put it in the fridge, but maybe you don't have a fridge in this emergency scenario. So if we're eating 3 cans a day, this whole thing lasts 8 days. That's not a long time. Now, you could argue as well though that this dry dog food, this bag that I have here, it takes up about twice the space of that. The difference is that is gonna last the same 40-pound dog between 45 and 60 days if you feed it the amount that it says on the bag, which is about 2¼ to 3 cups a day. That's a lot longer. But now we gotta talk cost. because this canned food that lasts 8 days, it costs about $30. This one costs about $36. But like I said, it's gonna last between 1.5 and 2 months. So we're talking about 6 to 8 of these little pallets to be able to match one bag. That's $180 to $240 versus $35. We all know dried dog food is cheaper. It's that much cheaper. So how do we make it last longer? That's where we're gonna go next. So to accomplish this, we are going to the Mylar. I've got these 1 gallon Wallaby brand Mylar bags, and I've got my Wallaby Mylar sealer. Wallaby is not a sponsor of this video or of this channel yet. So, but we're gonna go ahead and use them. So this gallon bag is gonna hold about 10 cups of dry dog food, and we're just gonna fill a bunch of these up and store them in these totes. The cool thing is one of these totes perfectly fit for us, basically one of these bags of dog food. And so it's like a 2-month supply of dog food per tote. And then we got them all labeled and stuff. I'm gonna show you all that when we get there. But now let's go ahead, fill a couple of these bags, and get them all sealed up. So just bring this over. There you go. We also need these oxygen absorbers. Now, some of the Mylar bag packs from Wallaby come in like as a kit and come with some of these, but these are super cheap and you can get them separate as well. So like this set in particular, it didn't come with them. So we're gonna stick one of these in each gallon bag, and each gallon bag is gonna hold about 10 cups of this dry dog food. Now on their website, Wallaby actually specifically also recommends that if you're gonna do this, you try to find a dry dog food that's less than 10% moisture. This Kirkland dog food, this beef and sweet potato formula, it meets that criteria. And while I'm also not sponsored by Costco yet, they have a lot of really good products. So, all right, we're gonna go ahead and pack some of this up. Nope. Almost forgot one of those. Also, make sure that you seal it above the little perforation, not below it, like an idiot. I can say that because I just did it below. Oxygen absorber. And if you forget to put in the oxygen absorber, just rip it back open. Throw one in here. And seal it back up. And on the third bag, we got one right. Cooper's already getting dinner. Again, I just kind of want that to stay wide. Yeah. Haha. Then the second one, I kind of have to spread it. There we go. Beautiful. All right, there's 4. It's very stackable. It is easier to do like 4-4-2. So here I'm kind of folding it over like that. That's getting a little more air out, which is going to let these lay flatter. And then as long as this is really good and flat, both sides, when I set it on there, I'm going to get a good seal. But it's not a bad idea to just kind of, I'm not pulling these apart, but I'm just kind of getting a visual, kind of opening it up a little bit and making sure I don't have any gaps where it just wants to pull apart. There we go. Ha. Practically a pro now. Let's see here. Nice. Now these bags in this tote setup is great for kind of the everyday food storage. With those, I mean, it's basically like we have this in case for any reason we're not able to buy dog food for a little while. Now we've got a month or two supply per tote here, right? But there are other situations where, like, say I've got a little extra here. There are other situations where I might want to use one of these kind of pint-sized bags, hold a couple cups worth of dog food. There's your just about a day's worth of dog food for camping, backpacking, off-roading that you can just have in your bag or in a tote or something like that, just ready to go, so that when you go up there, your dog's already taken care of. So I'm gonna go ahead and make a few bags of these. Also, in part because I've got a couple of these oxygen absorbers left, and I either need to seal off this bag, like at least tape it off or something, or use these. Otherwise, they're gonna get used up. You can't just like leave them out. They're gonna try to soak up the oxygen from around here. So we need to get them used up. So this is a good way to go through a few of those too. A little less than that. Voila. We got Cooper here cleaning up for us. You good cleanup crew, Coop. All right, so now I'm gonna prepare labels for each of these because I wanna, first of all, label what they are. I don't wanna have to open this thing up to remember what's inside of it. So dog food and the amount, 10 cups. But then I also wanna put on there when I packaged it and when I'm gonna treat it as expired. So we're packaging this now. We'll call it, it's February 2024. So we'll say it expires February 29. All right, cool. Then I'm gonna put one of these on each one of these bags. This is just really good labeling. I mean, up to you how much you wanna do it, but also these Wallaby bags come with the labels, and so it feels kind of wasteful to not use them. All right, the other thing that we want to label is the tote itself. So I'll show you this one that we've already got done. It just says dog food on the side. So again, I don't have to know what's inside. And then we have one here on the top that also says dog food. It tells me that there's 12 bags, 10 cups each. And again, this one actually says what's in it, like exactly what the dog food is, but also when it was packaged and when it expires. Now, why are we worried about putting in these totes? And why is this thing so taped up? There's actually a good reason for that. It's because these hard totes are gonna give it extra protection. I mean, these bags, these are gonna protect it from air. They're gonna protect it from light. They should protect it well from moisture, but this is gonna give it a little more protection from all those things, but added protection for pests like mice. Mice will chew right through like the dog food bag. Super easy, right? No problem. You'll see holes. You put it in your garage, put it in your crawl space, you're gonna find holes in there and they're gonna eat through that food. These Mylar bags should be a little harder for them to chew through, but man, they're probably gonna do it. So by putting them in, and we can stack them really nice and neat in these totes, and then we taped it down. So it's taped down twice on each side here and then on each end. There's no spot here where this is going to be able to open up enough even for a little mouse to squeeze through. And so it's going to be pretty well protected. I can throw this thing in a garage, in a crawl space. Pests aren't going to get into it, and it's going to be really awesome and available for whenever we need it. I've also got to add that this tote size here is portable. I mean, this is relatively heavy already. Imagine if you used like the bigger size of these totes. You wouldn't be able to carry it by yourself, let alone get it through the entrance to a crawl space. So this size of tote works incredibly well. These are also super stackable, and they're conveniently exactly half the footprint of their larger size of this exact same tote. So literally you could stack the large tote and then turn two of these sideways on top of it, and then stack another full-size one on top of that. They're made to be stackable in that kind of modular structure, which again is, I don't know, really good planning. So something to consider as well. We'll put a link to these in the description, but you can find these all over the place, especially at Costco. One more comparison that we should make between these different dog food types is the wet dog food. First of all, it's wet, water's heavy. Second of all, it's in a can, and cans are heavy. So remember, this 8 days worth of food, this weighs just shy of 20 pounds. But our 45 to 60 days worth of dry food weighs only 35 pounds. It's a lot less weight per day's worth of food. So again, in terms of like storability, packability, all of that stuff, I don't know. I'm gonna store mostly dry dog food. And then if I need to supplement that to make it stretch out a little further, adding in some rice, beans, eggs, whatever, even mixing those in are gonna help stretch that food. And that is how we make sure that our pets are gonna be well taken care of. We're planning for them the exact same way we would plan for ourselves. It's just a lot easier because they're way less picky than we are. So just put a little forethought in, and then you're gonna be able to have your pet that's gonna be able to help with protection. It's gonna be able to help you with emotional support and comradeship, even in the middle of the worst emergencies. And what's awesome is that all of that food storage, now I've got 4 months worth of food storage for a dog, a 40-pound dog. That was $70, $75 for all of that. Even the Mylar bags don't cost very much. It's very affordable to do. It just takes a little bit of forethought. That's what we're all about here at Pantry Preparedness, a little bit of forethought and being prepared for whatever it is life's gonna throw at you. If that's the kind of stuff you like, you're in the right place. We'll see you in our next video. Like and subscribe for more.